Ladies and gentlemen, after Representative Santos was ousted from the Congress, the next person that Kevin McCarthy wants revenge from or retribution, or the next person McCarthy wants to be ousted as a form of retribution for him being removed from Congress is Matt Gaetz. Matt Gaetz, of course, is the congressman that began the removal process of Kevin McCarthy. And now we have Congressman Johnson as the Speaker of the House, a much more conservative Republican. The thing with McCarthy was that he did not use any leverage against Democrats. He also was not outspoken enough against media, Democrats, a very corrupt political establishment. The problem with the Democratic Party and the American political climate today is that media has essentially become a mouthpiece or an echo chamber or a megaphone for the Democratic Party. Anyone who speaks out, really, and says, hey, wait a second, there's actual corruption here, you're going after Trump because of the corruption that you're hiding, which is what's taking place. If you're going to indict Trump and you're going to just allow private servers for 4 years, and I think Clinton will be the Democratic nominee for the Democratic Party eventually in 24, you're going to allow Hunter and Joe, mashed potato brains, our president, to pocket millions upon millions in various bank accounts where banks are actually stating these are problematic transactions, business, financial, monetary transactions. And the banks themselves are saying, hey, this is very bizarre. Money is going into Hunter's bank accounts literally for access. The New York Post published one of the emails asking Hunter for access and influence. And still people say, oh, there's no evidence there, but they go after Trump. 4 different criminal cases, and yet Hunter, with a laptop with actual crimes within those videos, is completely free. Democrats do everything possible. 50 intelligence officials do everything possible to sweep that under the rug. And people who are speaking out about this, Matt Gaetz, are singled out by media and the Democratic Party. The reason that you have this behind me, and I think that Matt Gaetz has already prevented any attempt by McCarthy at further retribution. So George Santos was essentially McCarthy. Well, it's been said that it's McCarthy's doing. They're not going to be able to remove Matt Gaetz because he's too popular. So number one, hit subscribe to this channel right now, ladies and gentlemen. Matt Gaetz is very popular. He defeated the Democrat by over 100,000 people. And he's not at risk of losing in his district in Florida. Florida's a red state now. Okay? He's not at risk of losing. They could say, oh, he's not popular, and all of these public relations polls can say that Matt Gaetz isn't popular. He's extremely popular. Nationally, he's extremely popular. Okay? Same thing with Trump. Trump is up above Biden, and he's been indicted 4 times. So you do the math on that one. By the way, to read my writing in The Hill, The Huffington Post, Salon, The Jerusalem Post, The Federalist, other publications, go to ajgoodman.com. My super thanks is below. My Patreon is below, ladies and gentlemen. I'll be back in a couple of hours before midnight Eastern, so definitely hit subscribe and expect a video before midnight Eastern time. But here you have all of these articles saying that Matt Gaetz belongs in jail, according to Kevin McCarthy, that he is this big problem, big, bad human being. He's committed worse crimes than Santos. All of this is complete nonsense, and here's why. You have an extremely corrupt Democratic Party. You have numerous Congress people, for example, with stock trades that just always seem to turn out positive. People who didn't invest in stocks, who suddenly then started investing in stocks because a partner was in some kind of financial firm, and then maybe, just maybe, they got insider information. So, for example, Pelosi has a better record picking stocks than anyone on the planet. Okay, it's very likely that she doesn't know much about finance or the stock market, and it's very likely that her husband or her possibly have benefited from insider trading. It's not just Democrats, it's also Republicans as well. So it's not, like I said, it's not just Democrats, it's also Republicans as well. And the thing is, you have to ask yourself, well, how did these people get so wealthy? How did Joe and Hunter, how did Hunter Biden work at all these corporations, especially in foreign corporations where they're paying him because his father was the vice president? It has nothing to do with nepotism. Nepotism is fine. When they go after Trump's children, they say it's the same thing. No, Trump actually sold property, real estate, golf courses, membership to his golf courses, The Apprentice. He was engaged in business, okay? Capitalism. This is graft, bribery, and Tammany Hall. When people give money, hundreds of thousands of dollars for a speaking arrangement or engagement, when Bill or Hillary get a $200,000 or $100,000 speaking engagement, that's called networking. People make money in politics from networking, okay? And then you have campaign finance violations that AOC was accused of. I mean, you can go down the list. It's not just Hunter Biden. AOC has been accused of criminal activity by one former FEC chairman because of a whole bunch of progressive political action committees that possibly even left-leaning YouTubers were a part of, possibly, potentially. Like the Honorable James Comey says, potentially. The Honorable James Comey, by the way, is probably one of the more amusing people in American politics. When asked if and he's brilliant he's brilliant in the comedy. When asked if he would testify against Andrew McCabe, he said potentially, potentially, possibly. And so anyway, I find that very amusing. But anyway, potentially and possibly left-leaning political action committees engaged in fraudulent or corrupt practices, criminal practices, regarding AOC's campaign, possible finance violations. Anyway, you had the FEC go after the Clinton campaign and the DNC. They completely fabricated the Trump-Russia hoax. You'd have to be a complete and utter imbecile to believe that Trump worked with the Kremlin in any way, shape, or form when uranium and other business deals were linked to Democrats while President Obama was in office, and you had millions of dollars being given to a foundation from people who eventually sold that commodity to the Kremlin and to Vladimir at the Kremlin. Okay, so I'm trying to speak in the most algorithmically friendly manner, but what can I tell you? They're accusing Trump of things that they're guilty of, okay? You'd have to be completely naive, possibly an imbecile, to believe that Trump is more corrupt than today's Democratic Party when you have all the evidence there, and you have 50 intelligence officials going to bat for Hunter, lying through their teeth. And you have graft and bribery and hundreds of millions of dollars going through shell corporations linked to our current president, mashed potato brains. And yet they say there's no evidence. But they ousted George Santos. That was allegedly Kevin McCarthy's doing. So I started off with Matt Gaetz being a bit too popular. So he's way too popular in his district. He's not going to be ousted because he's extremely popular in his district. He has a very good base of support in Florida, at least within his district. And he's the only person talking about issues, whether it's the border, whether it's foreign policy, that Democrats aren't talking about. Okay? So hit subscribe to this channel, ladies and gentlemen, right now. I'm ramping it up. I'm trying to do 2 or 3 every single day. I did 2 yesterday, 2 videos. I'll do 3 today and 3 or 4 tomorrow and the next day. And all throughout December. I will have a live stream sometime next week. I'll let you know, ladies and gentlemen. But Kevin McCarthy is going to try to remove Matt Gaetz. He won't be able to do so because he's extremely popular in the district. And he has Trump's support. And he had enough support from enough Congress people. I probably should have spoken about this instead of a tangent for the past 10 minutes. Matt Gaetz ousted Kevin McCarthy. he has the support of all the people that ousted Kevin McCarthy, not the other way around. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now.